I'm registered dietitian Abby Sharp, and on my new podcast, Bite Back with Abby Sharp, I'll be dismantling the multi-billion-dollar diet industry that keeps us in a cycle of self-loathing and food fear. Join me every Tuesday for expert interviews, engaging conversations, and my signature science and sass to bust myths, correct misinformation, and help you break free from diet culture for good. Listen for free on the Seeker app or wherever you get your podcasts.
The Philly Joe and Kirby Podcast.
This is the Philly Joe and Kirby Podcast.
Oh, they took the ball away. They converted it into points. Full marks to them. They played extremely well.
It's a tough one. Tough one for Winnipeg. Manitoba to wake up this morning. I just, you know what? I find it really hard to be mad at the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. I feel terrible for everybody within that organization. There's just so many good people.
You're going to sound like a parent. You're not mad. You're disappointed.
Yeah, but I mean, and look, I saw some people calling them the Buffalo Bills of the CFL, which I completely disagree with. The Bills never won a Super Bowl.
Right.
The Bombers have 2 Grey Cups on this run, and ultimately, that game sucked. Like Mike O'Shea, Wade Miller, Kyle Walters aren't going to tell you anything different. Zach Collaros, it was not their best work.
No, not at all. 5th appearance is a franchise record in a row for the Grey Cup. Never beaten Toronto to this day in a Grey Cup, which was interesting. I just thought there was glimmers of hope in the game, which kept us occupied till about the 4th quarter. But too many mistakes, I think, cost them yesterday. And I think, there's got to be a few players we're not going to be seeing, I would think, next year because of age and the way the dollar works now in the CFL. So it'll be interesting to see who goes, and whoever that might be, kudos to them for giving us what they have over the last 5 years.
The dream of a dynasty is over, which kind of sucks, obviously.
Yeah, that'll be, this morning on the heels of that performance last night, you're going to have, it's going to be tough convincing people that the Bombers' 5 straight Grey Cups with 2 victories was a dynasty.
What if they get there next year and win? That's 3 out of 6.
Yeah, that's right. Now you're playing the what if game, but I'll go back to Milt Stegall even before the game on the panel, like saying it's a dynasty. I don't care if they win or lose. 5 straight Grey Cups, 2 of those victories. This is a dynasty of an organization currently, like with what the Bombers have done. Now, 3-5, it's a gimme. 2-5 and 3 straight losses.
I don't know if I want to use the word dynasty, but it was a very successful franchise over the last 5 years to get there.
Yeah, I think you've lost the word dynasty now. I would say that.
I feel bad for Collaros, too. I mean, the whole finger situation really was just an unfortunate situation.
And he threw, 2 picks on his neck?
3 out of the last 4 drives were interceptions.
And those 3 were after the injury to the finger?
Yeah. Well, that game, listen, they were playing from behind anyway, right? So, and he wasn't using the fingers as an excuse. He said it was numb, but he told the guys, don't worry about it. That's the kind of guy he is, though, right? But I don't know if that was the capper in the game anyway. I think the Whitehead fumble was a major change, and I think the blocked punt
that didn't go their way.
That didn't go their way because of the penalty call. I thought that was another turning point, and they just didn't play as good as they needed to play to beat a good team.
Toronto beat them 3 times this year. Yeah. Toronto and Montreal out of the East are just, the Bombers beat the snot out of the West. We've seen that for 5 straight years. But the last 3 years, we've run into teams out of the East that are just better. That's the bottom line.
Yeah. And there was even a streaker last night.
Yes, there was. Yeah.
Who decided the Jonas Brothers could perform, though? Oh, my gosh.
Well, for the Grey Cup, that's a pretty good pull.
It's a big pull for sure. It's
I
just was like, oh, boy.
It wasn't like I was into it, but I know it's a big buzz act, right?
Yeah.
For the young people especially.
Yeah.
So, But
I think at that point I was just sad about the game going the way that it was going.
well, still close. Weren't the Bombers up at halftime?
Yeah, 10-9.
Yeah, but it was like the fourth quarter that it really started going downhill, I guess.
Terrible fourth
Yeah.
quarter. Yeah.
The Jonas Brothers didn't make it through the rest of the game, though. I didn't know one word to any of those songs, I'll tell you that much.
So you're not going back on the PVR today to watch the Jonas Brothers?
No, I got to go back and watch the rest of that Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight. There's a
God.
busy.
Yeah, we'll talk about that this
Yes.
morning as well. But
You know what? Hey, listen, tough one. But when you get there 5 times, there's going to be some disappointment, obviously, for any fan. I couldn't even imagine what these players are thinking today, especially the ones that have been on this run. Like, as sad as I feel, I couldn't even imagine.
The look on O'Shea's face said it all at the end of the game. Like, I mean, as a winner, I think we all felt the disappointment in O'Shea's expression.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, Kirby. We were all feeling like he looked.
And he doesn't show emotion very often.
No, but
Yeah.
it was hard to not.
And listen, that rule about the block punt and then pushing the guy out of the way and Toronto got
Should be a mad scramble for the ball.
that wasn't why they lost. Don't get me wrong, but they need to change that rule today.
Yeah,
That's a stupid rule.
Well, it could have changed the momentum.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, we're feeling it. We know everybody's feeling it this morning. We got a whole bunch of bone phone calls. We'll play in the 7 o'clock hour reaction to the game. But feel free to share with us this morning your feelings, your thoughts on the Grey Cup game on the Boston Pizza text line 762-555.
Philly Joe Kirby.
Philly Joe and Kirby.
Podcast.
The Philly Joe and Kirby podcast.
Call the Bone Phone. 780-BONE. Brought to you by Auto Gallery of Winnipeg.
Wanted to give a mad shout out to Joe Aiello for picking our Pittsburgh Steelers to win in that upset. Atta boy, good, solid pick, man. Ballsy too. I never pick my own team. Atta boy, way to go! Yeah.
You know what? Good pick, Joe. Good pick, Kirby.
It was the only one on the weekend that won of my teams. The Bombers lost, the Jets lost, and Kirby went out on a big reach and took
14-point
Detroit
favorites.
14-point
Listen, that
favorites.
game was a runaway.
Yeah, it was.
You know what? The one surprise of that game was that they didn't bring in the backup to let them play for a quarter or two. They kept their regulars in
Right.
for most of the game.
Like college football, just pounding
Yeah.
them. But the ticket did not come through thanks to the Bengals. The Bengals came from behind, but their field goal kicker misses two field goals in that game that could have given the Bengals a come from behind win.
I took Cincinnati on a ticket too.
Still a great game. Okay, we had the lady call last week, very angry about our billboard campaign with Joe and I wearing these shirts that are very tight to the point where you can see both of our bellies. Some response here.
Hey guys, this is with regard to the woman who doesn't like seeing belly buttons on her TV screen. I've got an even better idea. A shirt made up with the two of you on it, wearing those shirts with your belly buttons exposed, and both sign the shirt, and I guess Kirby can sign the shirt too, and send it to her.
I don't know that that's going to cut it with her.
Like, I think the point is that she doesn't want to see the bellies,
yeah.
nor does she probably want to wear a shirt with them on it.
There's no such thing as a bad idea. Maybe a fruit basket or something.
Fruit basket. We're going to
edible
talk to her.
arrangement.
Well, we'll see. We're going to call her. Today's too busy with too much Bomber stuff going on.
We need to like focus on that call. And we're down in the dumps.
Yeah, we'll call her tomorrow and sort things out. We're going to focus on the call. Anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know even what that means, Kirby.
I don't know what it means either. I'm honestly, I stayed up for the whole game, so that was a late night for me.
Yeah,
guys.
9 o'clock. Wow.
Like, I am tired.
I guess.
Okay, I'm getting some heat over something to do with the Winnipeg Jets.
Way to go, Philly. Way to go. Had to mention the Jets hadn't shit the bed yet all year and turn it on, and what do I see? Down 3-0.
Sorry about that. Because every game, I'm usually out and about. The notifications: 1-0 Jets, 2-0 Jets, 3-0 Jets, and this was the first over the weekend.
Yeah.
A tough weekend for the Jets, but I mean that's going to happen throughout a season.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for that team to go 82-0. I'm looking forward to tomorrow night, though. The back-to-back is usually, and you could see things getting a little spicy in the game there on Saturday. It's going to be a good tilt tomorrow night if you don't have your tickets.
Because
we have some.
Yeah, we do. You know the Jets
And
are going to
Kirby's
respond.
going.
Yep.
She rebounds back after that Bomber loss yesterday.
Yeah, I just need a day in between
You got
to
it.
recoup. It's
You
going to be
got it.
another late night tomorrow night. I'm going to be a wreck this week.
She rebounds back.
I'm back.
Netflix, not real popular around the planet this morning.
Netflix, I'm starting to get really pissed off. I've been waiting, sitting on my couch, buffering 30 minutes. What the hell is going on here? I'm about damn ready to cancel my subscription.
Yeah, that was mind-numbing. Holy God, how were they not ready?
happened?
How were they not ready for that?
We're going to talk about it now?
Yeah, we could address it. We'll talk about it in further detail later on this morning.
I didn't watch, so I just didn't. I saw the buffering thing, but
So there was like 65 million people worldwide that had buffering issues. Okay, a lot of people thought it might be their stream company and everything else, but it wasn't. It was a Netflix problem. Ironically, they did this live event to try and gain more subscribers and test the waters. Instead, they probably lost a few million. And it was very frustrating if you were on any kind of social media, but apparently it worked better on your tablet or your phone.
That's what I did.
Than it did for television, yeah.
I eventually went tablet because it was working on the phone. So there's the whole family, well, me and my two boys, gathered around a tablet
And
watching it.
And if you listen to the show Friday, we pretty much nailed what exactly was going to happen, and it exactly went down exactly how we said it would, but yet we all wanted to watch it, even knowing how it was probably going to finish.
I just Googled it a couple hours after it had happened, I guess, and then just wanted to see what the outcome was.
It was a disgrace, but we will talk further. We'll talk more about it later on this morning. Let's wrap with Lisa. Not a big fan when it's busy downtown, although she seems to have a few of the events that were going on downtown slightly confused here.
The Grey Cup, the Jets game, and a Santa Claus parade at the same time.
Oh, no Grey Cup, but
I wouldn't even go downtown.
oh, it's busy.
Jets were in
You
Florida.
show your passport.
You need a passport.
I don't know. They go to the convention center.
Yeah,
I like 5440.
at the casino.
Anywho, I wouldn't even take a bus.
You get busy.
And I'm scared of airplanes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, take it easy, Louise.
Oh, I'll take it easy.
Anywho, I like staying at home.
Yeah, so there was a Santa Claus parade, but the Jets were on the road, and there was no Grey Cup game downtown either.
Or parade coming.
It's just better to stay home. Safer.
Where are they asking you for your passport, Lisa, downtown?
The Philly Joe and Kirby podcast.
It'd be interesting to go back and see these 3 straight Grey Cup losses. I mean, just make it more painful, I guess. But look at how much the Bombers were favored by in all 3 of the games. I know, obviously, it started the week at 10-point favorites. I think at game time they were 9 or 9.5.
10.5 is what I bought in.
Okay.
The other day. But I think this was the biggest gap out of the last 3 years, and it made no sense to either one of us on why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's...
they beat us twice, and one of them was 14-11.
Right. Probably all that the quarterback was because Chad Kelly was hurt, but...
Arbuckle did enough to win, but he also became MVP, so that also tells you how much anybody really stood out yesterday in the game.
You know who was hurting? The bone phone. And we got some calls, and we thought rather than just, put them in with the rest of the bone phone calls, let's separate them. So here's the reaction to the Bomber loss on the bone phone.
Hey, Philly Joe and Kirby, it's Motorhead Guy. So, yesterday was pretty shitty. I very disappointed that the Bombers did not run the f***ing ball in the fourth quarter at all. Not once. They might have ran it towards the end when Brady got a touchdown. Kind of oh man, they got 24 points. Whoopie f***ing do. But how do you not give Brady Oliveira the ball? The guy is a tank, even if he gets 5 yards. Why are you not running the ball on first down? And you're hucking the ball deep on first down. What do you expect's going to happen? It's not Madden. This is not Madden football, Buck Pierce. Get that out of your head, man. Yeah, you got a quarterback, but you know what? He cut his finger. He's wearing a glove.
He started off very docile for Motorhead guy and then really revved it up. And this is a man that was looking for a job last week. I hope some of that frustration was from that because I like Motorhead guy. I actually met him a while ago.
Tough times for Motorhead guy.
Wow.
Hey, Philly, how about that Grey Cup game, baby? F***ing Bombers can't do shit in the f***ing Grey Cup final. Keep yapping. Let's go. 3 years in a row and you f***ing lost. Let's go.
I don't think that guy was a Bomber fan. The tone of that was more of a riot.
Well, you'll be happy to know the Grey Cup is going to be hosted right here by your Winnipeg Blue Bombers in 2025.
Nice effort, Bombers. Like, picked apart by a journeyman quarterback. He looked like Doug Flutie in his prime. Out of way, boys. Out of way. You know what? Next time when you win the Western Final, just decline it. Let the team that you lost, that you beat you, just let them go instead.
Harsh.
Yikes.
I thought the Willie Jefferson interception was kind of neat, and I thought, maybe there was a couple of moments where there was some hope. A few plays, and then we had that one taken back, the block. That was a killer penalty too. But there was just some moments. But yeah, it was just a disappointment overall, I think.
Kirby's guy Eddie.
Eddie?
Yeah, a little
Old
more.
Eddie watched the game.
He watched the game.
I watched the game, and I don't want to hear all through the show about people complaining. You know,
He didn't want.
I don't want to hear it. So anytime anybody complains, play AC/DC. So I'm sure that I'll be hearing a lot of AC/DC, but, it's just one of those things.
That's my man. He's very positive.
He's probably stacking up those tattoo magazines he had for you while the game was on. By the fourth quarter, I'm sure Eddie was looking at doing some other stuff. You haven't picked those up yet, have you?
Come on, Kirby. Get on that. Okay, let's wrap with Guilty. And he's trying to offer some perspective here.
Remember, the sun rises. It's just a sporting event, and we'll get them next year. And if the Jets win the Stanley Cup, then we look still like Winnipeg. But losing 3 in a row in the Grey Cup is tough, real tough. But looked like our man's finger was dangling pretty good there at the end. Good show for him to come back and suck it up. But it's not war; it's sport.
Okay, thank you, Guilty.
Guilty's even melancholy today.
Yeah, it's weird. It's just everybody sounds tired. Everybody's pissed off.
We're defeated.
Yeah, that's right. But the sun rises today, so says Guilty.
Woo!
You're going to get a bit of cloud too today, though, eh?
This is the Philly Joe and Kirby podcast. Philly Joe and Kirby's Entertainment Rundown.
Man, I love this. The Entertainment Rundown, baby. I'll start. The Penguin. because last Monday was a day off for us. We weren't here. I didn't get a chance to talk about The Penguin, which wrapped up last week. Fantastic show. 2.1 million viewers tuned into the final episode of the HBO original limited series, up 50% from episode 1. The growth of this show, it was off the charts. IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, all in the 90 percentile as far as ratings for the program. And now they're talking about a possible another season. I mean, why wouldn't you? And then also about the next Batman movie with Robert Pattinson spinning in to the Penguin, like taking off from where it left off.
You know what's interesting, too, is you mentioned the number for the final episode, which is nothing compared to like 10 years ago when streaming was just kind of rolling. But now, because you can watch these shows and the groundswell, like I haven't seen it yet. Curbs, have you seen it yet?
No.
But I just keep hearing from all my buddies, you have to watch it. So it's next on my list. But it's amazing if we could ever find out the number after like a 2-year window of how many people actually put eyeballs on a show that is that good.
Yeah, no kidding. But it was extremely good. The quality of the acting got very dark in the final couple of episodes. That's all I'll say. Won't spoil anything for anybody. Curbs?
Well, Joe kind of gave me a heads up that Cher is going to be on late night TV tonight.
Jimmy Fallon, Tonight Show.
And I have a feeling that's to promote part 1 of her memoir, which is coming out tomorrow. I'm super excited to obviously read about her life. She's had a very interesting life. I mean, her marriage with Sonny Bono and the fact that she had the TV show. Did you know this? Here's a fun fact about Cher. She was the first woman to ever show her belly button.
Yeah. On TV.
On TV.
Yep, Sonny and Cher show.
Yeah.
I'm old enough to remember the show.
Our belly buttons look better, Joe.
Yeah, I would say.
She paved the way, though.
For us, yes.
Yes, she did. She
So
did.
I just want to make sure you know that. But
If
yes,
we could
part
only
1.
sing. Her marriage to Greg Allman should be maybe a page, not even a chapter. It was like 11 days.
It was a brief little fling.
Yes, it was. And interesting lady for sure. Two volumes of this book.
I can't wait.
This is kind of neat because I can't recall this ever happening before, but Alex Van Halen, this is the second time he's been talking about this, but he claims there's 3 or 4 albums worth of unheard Eddie Van Halen music sitting in the vaults that they have. And what he's thinking on doing here is sifting through the material, figuring out what is worthy of release, and then completing the songs with other musicians. So you'd have a hybrid project of stuff with Eddie on it and completing it with other musicians. And I'm a huge Van Halen fan, and I couldn't tell you which version I like better. This would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I agree with that. Wow.
I'd like to hear that happen.
All right.
Van Halen news.
That is your entertainment roundup, baby.
Philly Joe Kirby.
Philly Joe and Kirby
Podcast.
The Philly Joe and Kirby podcast.
I think my favorite message on social media pertaining to the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson debacle on Friday night was this on Threads. I quote, I don't have a lot, and it's just some random dude on Threads. Quote, I don't have a lot of regrets, but staying up until 12:30 to watch Mike Tyson throw 1.5 punches at a guy who looks like he dropped out of 3rd grade to open up a vape store. That's definitely one of my top regrets.
I think he got a million for every punch thrown. I think there was like 11 or so in the fight by him. Hey, we called it. You said they were going to dance around, and Mike would go the distance, and then it would be a decision, of course, for Jake Paul, who will continue this fighting spree.
I don't think I needed to see Mike Tyson's ass.
In the chaps there, yeah.
That was quite a scene.
Mm-hmm. When he was doing the interview.
Very memorable.
So 73,000 fans were at AT&T Stadium, and what am I seeing here? 60 million households watched. I air quote watched, because most of us watched buffering unless you bailed on your TV and then went to a tablet or a phone, because Netflix, what an unmitigated disaster that was for them.
Apparently it ended up being closer to 65 million, and that's a Netflix record of households that actually tuned in, whatever you want to call tuned in, as you said. But listen, it's a spectacle. They got a lot of eyeballs on it, as many as they were hoping if it set a record. Unfortunately, with the guffaw, you got to wonder looking forward now, because is Netflix going to get into more live sports? They are with pro wrestling. They bought the WWE contract in Canada, but there's a lot of speculation on hockey, like Amazon is doing Monday nights.
Right.
And if they will get into the game with the NBA and NFL when some of those contracts become available, or Major League Baseball. But they definitely got a problem to fix if they had that many eyeballs and it screwed up their system.
Can you imagine being in a meeting this morning? Like, all right, so we're going to discuss what went wrong.
Oh, wow. It would have been mad panic, like, to try to sort that out. But it was sad. Honestly, it was sad. And shame on me for falling for it to watch it. I would never pay pay-per-view money for something like that.
No.
The fact that it was on Netflix and my kids were talking about it, we checked it out, and I will not fall for that again. Like the whole Jake Paul, like it was sad. Tyson looked like he was, after the first round, Tyson, you could tell, was out of gas. Roy Jones Jr., the commentator, kept saying he's got no legs. He can't
we talked about it.
Standing in the middle of the ring. Jake Paul could have finished him at any point with a barrage of punches.
Yes.
Because he's almost 60 years old. He doesn't have it anymore.
Yeah.
So the other discussion was, now that you went with the GOAT of boxing, if you want to argue that point, there's no other boxer that they can put in there that will have the interest of Mike Tyson. So who is next? Is it a Conor McGregor as far as coming from that world? As far as somebody who has mainstream ability? And that's not going to happen while he's under a UFC deal. So what's left for Jake Paul? He's going to go back to those ham and eggers, and it won't have the interest.
Everybody's suggesting he fight a real fighter. That's not going to happen.
Never.
He's never. It's just contrary to his business plan, which, by the way, is working. Like, these fights are like...
But what other boxer out there right now would be able to take that fight of known, like of mainstream ability out there? What boxer?
Like, as far as...
that can then fight him, that will draw the same attention as a Mike Tyson.
Well, if he actually stepped up and fought an actual boxer,
they won't draw the same numbers, what I'm saying.
I see what you're saying, because of Tyson's name.
Yeah. And the curiosity around Tyson. And you wanted to see an older guy that was called, the baddest man on the planet, whip some punk's ass.
Could he still do it?
Yes.
Could he find it for one night? I did also see a very funny meme. Somebody saying, up next for Jake Paul, they're going to pay him $50 million to push George Foreman down a flight of stairs.
Oh, my God. That's awful.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
I'll tell you, I'm the same age as Mike Tyson, and I had a hard enough time like watching it or sitting in a chair long enough without some kind of ailment. Never mind what he was doing.
Oh, my God, yes. So if you did not see it, because you could probably go back, technically, if you really wanted, and watch it on Netflix, right? It's still,
it's there.
It's still sitting there.
Oh, for the rest of your life.
Don't waste your time. Do not waste your time.
The Philly Joe and Kirby podcast.
I'm registered dietitian Abby Sharp, and on my new podcast, Bite Back with Abby Sharp, I'll be dismantling the multi-billion-dollar diet industry that keeps us in a cycle of self-loathing and food fear. Join me every Tuesday for expert interviews, engaging conversations, and my signature science and sass to bust myths, correct misinformation, and help you break free from diet culture for good. Listen for free on the Seeker app or wherever you get your podcasts.
PJK Extra. What are you laughing about over there,
He was
Kirby?
just ready to give us the weather, Phil.
Well, listen,
we need to know what's going on. Joe knows what's going on when it comes to weather.
It's big news when you hear we're going to get some snow. And it's not one of those 20-centimeter hits, right, in the city, but it's worthwhile to know. I mean, we've been pretty lucky so far throughout October and into, halfway through November, and not a drop of snow.
Kirby reported this in the news. I did not. And it was about a system coming from the west that's going to affect western Manitoba for sure and parts of Winnipeg. And we just don't know how much some parts of Manitoba are going to get. But when you hear of those like Alberta Clippers and Colorado Lows and all that stuff, it never really bodes well for our province. And what they're saying is rain tomorrow, quite a bit of it actually, which... You could argue that the trees and the lawn need it, getting ready for winter, but also that could turn to snow into tomorrow night, and then more of it on the way Wednesday. But we just don't know how much. Apparently, they're calling 2 to 5 on Wednesday here in Winnipeg.
And possibly 5 tomorrow evening, too, right?
Yeah, it could make things very dicey, slippery if it all freezes over by Wednesday morning. And you know how it goes. We've had people on the bone phone call. Or phone and call in about the fact that, people forget how to drive when the conditions change.
We get those every year.
Yeah.
Every year.
So it's going to be helter-skelter by Wednesday. Maybe.
The snow brush is in the back of the vehicle, ready to go.
That's a big one. I find more people get left without that than anything else. You got to grab that out of the garage.
Listen, speaking of that, you know what today is? It's a big day for this young lady right here. She's picking up her new vehicle, and I don't know if the snow brush from the old vehicle's making the transfer or not.
You don't even know. Yesterday, I had to lug everything out of my vehicle. Like, how I have that cooler in there from Rockin' the Fields in Minnedosa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to take that out, and a camping chair, and then I had to clean out my vehicle because I am giving it to them.
It's amazing that a $45,000 purchase would finally get you to clear out your vehicle by November 18th.
That was big. Yeah, stuff from the summer. Finally got rid of it.
Yeah.
And of course, you're buying the new vehicle because your roadside assistance ran out on the old vehicle.
Yeah.
So
Well, you know how I
needs new
usually do
tires.
it. I usually flip those leases every 3 to 5
Yeah.
years.
I needed new tire. And needed new tires.
Nobody has been better with the car industry outside of the automakers themselves than this young lady right here.
I bet that was the first time that sales guy heard that. You know what? Why are you looking for a new car? My roadside assistance ran out.
That's what
we have
happened.
packages, right?
They're probably sitting there at the board meeting in the morning going, listen, Bill, you got to pick it up a notch here. You're a little bit behind. These things just don't fall on your lap. And about 4 hours later, this lady walks in with purple hair and goes, listen, I don't have much time today. I've got an appointment, and I'm telling you right now, my eyelashes are about to fall off. I need a new vehicle because my roadside is out, and I need new tires.
I'll pay anything. I don't care. I'm not
I just
looking for
want
a
the
deal.
same as mine with all the upgrades.
And roadside.
Well, that's key. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, so
Good luck, by the way, with that today.
Thank you.
listen, we're lucky to have Joe Aiello in the studio. If you want updates on the weather over the next few days, snow, wind, 92.1 City, baby.
Rain tomorrow, some snow, gonna get windy going into Wednesday.
Is it a low pressure system or a high pressure?
No, low's
Okay.
coming in.
All right. Just making sure.
Don't pretend you want to know.
That's PJK Extra.
This is the Philly Joe and Kirby podcast.
It's back, baby. Shoppers Drug Mart Prices Right contest. Your chance to win $200 worth of GCs from Shoppers Drug Mart.
Retail therapy.
Yeah, we need it. We all need it today, Joe. Well said. Basically, we're all going to fill up a PJK basket full of items from Shoppers. You got to tell us what the total combined cost is. That's before taxes and no sale prices. I will go first. Joe, you were just talking about this the other day, how you're out of this. You and I sometimes go together to buy it. Lean Fit Sport Creatine Monohydrate Unflavored. It's a 300-gram powder. And the key with this is, as I look at the product description, I like to do
Please tell
this.
us the key.
Increases energy and athletic performance.
Yeah.
Increased muscle strength and energy during high-intensity training.
I'm going to tell you right now,
Wow,
I
that's
noticed
what it
the
is.
difference as soon as I put it down on the counter. I haven't opened it.
Yeah.
But I've noticed the difference as it's been sitting there on my counter.
Well, I'm surprised you're not doing commercials for Lean Fit Sport Creatine, Joe.
Your
All
guys'
those words.
Athletic performance has never been better.
So there you go, 300 grams.
Okay. Kirby, go ahead.
I've always wanted one of those sleep masks, but I have eyelashes, and so like those masks don't really work well for people who have eyelashes, like fake eyelashes. So I'm gonna pick up the Slip Contour Sleep Mask.
Just to keep it dark, like over your eyes?
Yeah, for sleeping, and it's satin, but this one has like a little carved out space for your lash extensions.
You live by yourself. What are you looking to for? What are you? What are you looking to
It just
accomplish
looks
here?
cool,
Oh,
okay?
it's because of the appearance.
You can take a picture. And then you can post it. What do you think? You don't have to live
Joe
with
gets
anybody.
me.
Sleep
He
vibes.
Gets me.
Hey, sleep vibes.
I loved
You already got the caption right.
I loved how you framed it. People with eyelashes. That's about 99% of the population.
And then I
but
made sure
yes,
to say fake eyelashes.
Which is
These
a
ones
big
are
number.
Specific.
Big number. It's a whole industry now.
Yeah, and
Eyelashes.
you want to protect them when
Yep.
you sleep because
Very
when you
good.
sleep they get all wonky.
Very good.
So again, that's the Slip Contour Sleep Mask.
We were talking about this morning before we went on the air. There'll be a lot of people dragging ass today, no doubt about it. Life brand melatonin timed release. 10 milligrams. If you have a hard time sleeping, Sunday's the worst day. I'm going Life brand melatonin time release. 10 milligrams.
Okay, there you go. Let us know what those three items combined, what the total combined price is before taxes, no sale prices, and you got to text your guess to 762-555, and we'll have a whole bunch of people likely who will get it correct. We'll chuck you in the randomizer. Someone's going to win a GC from Shoppers Drug Mart.
Philly Joe Kirby.
Philly Joe and Kirby
Podcast.
The Philly Joe and Kirby podcast.
I got a text from my dad this morning, and I'm
A text?
100%. Well, we text.
That's awesome. I wish.
Yeah. I find I love texting with him because of his hearing aid and the phone. It's a bad mix, and it's what? And there's a lot of that. So
Could you get him to call my dad on his landline and convince him that they're the same age? that he gets a cell phone. We went out for his birthday last week. I sat right next to him, and he didn't have his hearing aids in. I go, like, and then he put them in, and it didn't make a difference. And then you heard the squelch. I said, my brother's right across from me. We were just looking at each other going, oh, this can't be good.
Well, mine's got Bluetooth attached to his phone.
Oh.
His hearing aid to the phone, but he's never got it turned up properly when I call.
So you same thing.
It's just, it's a bit of a nightmare. But
Do you want me to deal with your dads?
Maybe.
Please.
I love the seniors.
Because he sent me this morning. There's no way he meant to send me this. It's a link. Best free movies with Amazon Prime. And
he's a little worried about what you're spending on streaming.
I don't know why he sent me.
Maybe he saw that and thought, who likes movies? Phil likes movies.
So maybe
how often are you complaining to him about the cost of movies?
Absolutely never.
Dad.
And don't click that link.
Oh my God.
Maybe he was hacked.
I'm hoping it has never come up. I'm like,
does your dad even have Amazon?
No, absolutely not.
For more Philly, Joe, and Kirby, lock it into 92.1 City weekday mornings 6 to 10.
I'm registered dietitian Abby Sharp, and on my new podcast, Bite Back with Abby Sharp, I'll be dismantling the multi-billion-dollar diet industry that keeps us in a cycle of self-loathing and food fear. Join me every Tuesday for expert interviews, engaging conversations, and my signature science and sass to bust myths, correct misinformation, and help you break free from diet culture for good. Listen for free on the Seeker app or wherever you get your podcasts.